Hello everybody, Luke here, and I just got back from watching the new live-action remake of The Little Mermaid. Obviously, a lot of people have been complaining about these live-action remakes, and me too. One of my previous reviews, and actually one of the best videos on this channel, was about talking about the new Peter Pan and Wendy, the one that went straight to Disney+, and that was horrible. I really hated it. I think it was actually one of the worst, if not the worst, remake that they've done so far. So I kind of came in with pretty low expectations, I think, with a lot of people. I think everybody comes in kind of thinking that it's just going to be, you know, just another remake. They might make it like gloomy and dark because that's their way of thinking, oh, this is how we're going to change this. Let me make it kind of edgy and gritty and dark. But to my surprise, it actually was a really good remake, and I liked it a lot. This is probably the first one that I've seen that if I walked into a room and somebody was like watching it over the animated one, I wouldn't be like, dude, why are you watching this? I would say, sure, I'll sit down and watch a little bit with you. It was honestly enjoyable. So that sounds interesting. Let's get right into the review. So the plot is pretty much exactly the same as the original. And I mean, exactly the same, like even dialogue-wise, exactly the same. You know, better or for worse, if you want that, if you don't want that. I'm going to talk about my feelings about the exact kind of copiness of this movie at the end, but I'm just kind of getting through the plot. So Ariel is one of the many daughters of King Triton, who they live underwater, and Ariel just wants to go to land. However, King Triton does not want this to happen. He lost his wife, who wanted to go onto land from the humans. But with the deal that she made with her aunt Ursula, the evil Ursula, the one with the tentacles, she was granted a wish that will allow her to be on land and have legs for 3 days. But the catch is, she can't talk, and she needs to get a true love's kiss from Prince Eric. So that's the main plot. Like I said, it's exactly the same. You know, Disney, they always kind of do with these remakes, like really basic changes to it. There are some talks about social commentary. For instance, some of the daughters, while talking to King Triton, are saying, oh, those humans just pollute our ocean. So obviously it's about pollution. And then at the end, there is this whole message of, hey, we're not so different from the humans after all. Maybe we should all get together and live in harmony. You know, it's nothing big to change the plot, but it's kind of, it's there just to throw it in there. But like I said, it pretty much is exactly the same from the original, except for 30 minutes longer, which I will talk about where those 30 minutes go. But the dialogue's the same. The songs are pretty much the same. They add a couple new songs. They're okay. But what was in the original is still here in the new one. And honestly, I'm not too mad about that. It's funny because I feel like Disney and a lot of studios, they've like forgotten about just a classic tale. I think a lot of studios, for instance, let's talk about Pixar. I love Pixar, but I feel like every single movie, especially ones like Soul, it's like they have to push the boundaries of like emotions and feeling and having this deep meaning. Same thing with even like Toy Story 4. It's like I feel like every single one of them, they want to have this moment where it makes the whole audience cry and really think about it. And that is good. I think obviously you should change the plots, especially if you are wanting to push the agenda and push the boundaries of what filmmaking can be. But sometimes I do like a classic, simple story. And I think this is what this movie delivers. There just hasn't been a Disney movie, and somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but it feels like for me that there hasn't been a Disney movie when, you know, the princess and the prince, they get together, they kiss at the end, and they live happily ever after. I miss that. It's just such a cute story. And obviously it's not refreshing because it's the exact same story as the original movie, but it's just cute to see it again. There's not much I really can talk about this review. I think it's going to be pretty short. I can talk about the acting. I think everybody does a great job. I think that Halle Berry does an amazing job as Ariel, and she has a really beautiful voice, and it really shines when she sings. I like the casting for King Eric, King Tristan. I think Daveed Diggs does a great job as Sebastian. I think Flounder looks weird, but the voice actor does a great job. And then finally, the only other one that's a little weird is Awkwafina. Every now and then, her delivery is either funny or it sounds like nails scratching on a chalkboard. But that's pretty much the only complaint when it comes to the acting side. I think everybody did a great job. Obviously, though, visuals has always been a iffy point when it comes to these remakes. I talked about this with my Wendy and Peter Pan review, but films like The Lion King looks horrible. All the animals look super lifeless. And in this case, it's kind of like that. Flounder looks awful in this movie, but fortunately you don't see him a lot. And all the other fish, they don't really talk or do much, so it's fine that they look, you know, realistic. And when everything is moving around and they're all swimming, it actually looks really good. The effects they have for their hair flowing in the water looks really good. And It still looks very good too when it's kind of dimly lit, but sometimes when Ariel's just standing still in like a really bright area in the ocean, it looks as good as my thumbnails on this channel, which don't look very good. Which isn't too bad though, because half the movie is underwater, and there is a lot of movement, so it kind of helps distract the eye, but then the other half is on land, and they do a really good job with the on land part. You know, a good example of this is on the second day when Ariel's talking to Prince Eric. You know, in the animated movie, it's just kind of a very quick montage of them, you know, looking at things, kind of riding the horse carriage, and at the end, they're sitting underneath the moonlight on the rowing boat. But in the live action remake, they go to this town, which they kind of show in the animated one, but it's a lot more lively. You actually get to see her talking to the people and seeing the amazement in her eyes for all these crazy new things that she's seeing. And I think that's actually a good plus about this movie, is that they take a little bit longer when she's on land. And I think that's actually one thing that does separate this movie from the animated one. Obviously, all the scenes underwater will always look better just because it's animated. The fish look so much more lively. They can do a lot more cool things like strum each other to make instruments, like in the song Under the Sea. But I do appreciate the fact that there is a little bit more time for the chemistry between Prince Eric and Ariel. It feels like a classic love story. You really get a sense that these two actors have chemistry together and they really want to have a first kiss, this true love's kiss. It's a lot more believable. I always think when rewatching the original one, it is a really short movie, so I don't blame them. But the original, it just seems so rushed that it's really quick. But in this one, you really do feel this kind of, this like love tension, if you will. And that's where it really shines. The actors, like I said, do a great job. And I think that's honestly a plus. I think it's a plus that you get to grow with these characters more. All the characters on land have more personality. It's not just Ariel and Prince Eric. Listen, is this movie breaking any new grounds? No. At the end of the day, it is still a Disney remake. And with all Disney remakes, they're usually pretty similar. But in this case, I do appreciate the fact that they kept it pretty loyal to the original. It's still pretty colorful at the right times. They still do sometimes do like dimly lit scenes to make it gritty, but it's not that bad compared to something like, you know, like Dumbo, which is like almost like really dark and scary. They still have the beautiful underwater scenes I like. The songs are all still there, and of course the story is still there as well. I'm gonna give this 3 out of 4 stars. It's nothing new, but it's refreshing to see something not original, but something that we grew up on and actually being able to see it again, which is just a classic Disney princess love story. You know, I actually, if you are with your friends, maybe you're wanting to watch a new Disney movie and you just kind of want to reminisce on such a classic film, go watch it. I genuinely enjoyed it a lot. Like I said in the beginning of the review, if I walked into the room and somebody was watching this over the animated one, I would not be mad at all. I would say, that's cool. Now, if somebody was watching the new Peter Pan over the original Peter Pan, I would get mad. But in this case, I think it's a really cute film. You should go and watch it. And that's the review, and I hope you liked it. I think this is honestly one of the best Disney live-action remakes they've made in a long time. And of course, if you did like this video, you can hit one of these things to subscribe and check out another video, and I will see you all next time.